Welcome to AI Marketing Academy. My name is Jason Pantana, your instructor, and I'm so glad you're tuned in today to the May 2025 lecture video, with our focus being centered around how do you generate video avatars using AI, obviously, that look and sound like you, and then what's the marketing strategy to utilize those videos to create a YouTube channel that generates an inbound influx of seller leads, buyer leads, and positions you to be an absolute rock star in your marketplace. So really think of today's training as sort of a 2-for-1. Part A is the video avatar, which has uses beyond YouTube. Part B is the YouTube strategy using your avatar, but I'm going to also invite you to sort of explore and think about what are other use cases for your video avatar. It could be used for Reels, for TikToks, for Facebook. It could be used for email promotions, or maybe you have transactional drips for clients, like a buyer or a seller sort of checklist or things of that effect, or even lead follow-up. The potential of a video avatar goes really, really far, because if you think about it, making videos can be relatively time consuming. You got to get prepped to record stuff. You got to do all this work. It's a lot of effort. But if you could create a clone that looked and sounded like you could create videos in a lot of cases where you never thought to make videos before. So we're going to get into today, how do you do this in the best, most convincing way? And then how do you use these avatars in terms of the most effective marketing strategies to help position you to generate more sellers, more buyers, more clientele, but also to save you time and help you scale and grow your business. Now, every month inside the Academy, we have a lecture and a lab. Now, the lecture, which is what you're currently watching at this moment, is the end-to-end training that is the strategy. And then about 2 weeks later, give or take, we have our lab session, which is a live Zoom where you can ask me questions, we can dive into implementation and ensure that you have fully grasped and are ready to execute on everything in that month's training, because that's the value proposition of this Academy, is every single month, January, February, March, etc., you're chipping away at the block of AI-ifying your marketing mix. So that, because if you think about a business that does a lot of great marketing, better marketing, faster marketing, more marketing, they're going to get better, faster, more results in their business. And that, again, is the value proposition and the ambition of these trainings. So I'm so glad you're watching today as we dive into, once again, the lecture this month, which is talking about, on the screen, YouTube in particular. Now, this is an interesting saying, that YouTube is a search engine, as if to say it is not a social network. I want you to think for a moment critically about the difference between a search engine and a social network. A search engine, the dominant way people discover content is there's a search bar and they go looking for it, which suggests there's more intent behind what it is they're looking for, versus a social network. The dominant way that you discover content there is through scrolling. Hey, algorithm, show me something interesting, funny, entertaining that I can relate to, whatever. And if it doesn't scratch that itch, what do? You scroll to the next, scroll to the next. And so on a social platform like an Instagram or like a TikTok, attention is fleeting. You really have to grab people's attention, and your videos honestly can't be very long, or people are going to bounce because they're there to scroll. But on a search engine like YouTube, which we know that YouTube is owned by Google, and it is right now, it's technically the third largest search engine on planet Earth. Number 1 is Google. Number 2 is Google Images. Number 3, which is kind of the same thing. And number 3 is YouTube. Now, we do know, based upon last month's training, that AI search is certainly kind of climbing its way up. Notwithstanding, there's still, you got to make room for Google, for YouTube, and for what it is. But the dominant way people are going to find your videos on YouTube is through search. Now, I already said this. I'm going to say it again. If someone is searching for the content that your videos address, you can assume a couple of things about those people. 1, their intent is greater, and therefore they're willing to watch for longer. And because they're willing to invest more time and effort into the watching of a video, they're also going to have a higher standard of quality. They're going to expect that it really, really addresses what it is they're trying to understand or explore or discover when they ran their search that your video ranked in. So this strategy today is going to be keeping all of YouTube best practices in mind to ensure that you are positioning yourself to be discovered by more buyers, more sellers, your customers, and your local marketplace on YouTube, all the while not costing you time, energy, and effort, because we're going to AI-ify the strategy so you can just really save yourself a load of effort. You can save yourself a lot of the creative input that goes into making videos and just do it faster, do it better, etc. Now, on the screen, I've got a very philosophical, powerful question, or at least I think that it is. Who ever said that you are limited to one YouTube channel? Think about that. We have always, as marketers and business owners doing marketing for our businesses, sort of held on to this assumption that, you know what, I'm limited to one YouTube, one Instagram, one TikTok, one Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of been the way most of us have been conditioned. But if you look, without me going too in depth on this, if you look at how algorithms have shifted and changed over the last few years, they're very much TikTokified. And TikTok took a lot of its cues from YouTube, and both TikTok, YouTube, and now Instagram and Facebook. The way their algorithms work is they look at a channel or in a page, you could call it an account. So like your Instagram page or account, your YouTube channel. I'm using those terms interchangeably. It's your profile basically. The way these algorithms work is YouTube looks at your channel and says, oh, this channel makes videos like this for people like that. And so you build sort of authority as a channel across your different videos. And so if you have scattered videos that talk about this topic and that topic and they just stray all over the place, it kind of waters down the understanding the algorithm has of who your channel is best for, and that's going to dilute your ability to rank in critical search results. So there's an element of niching down. You want to be sort of hyper-focused on your topic or subject matter on YouTube. And that's been the case for years and years. Well, TikTok sort of evolved that strategy when they sort of got really hot and popular. And once again, they're looking at what is a video about. Now, TikTok put a little bit less weight on the entire account versus every video for itself, notwithstanding the way the algorithms have shifted. And I think you'll agree with me. When you scroll Instagram, whether it's the home feed or the Reels feed, it's showing you stuff, Facebook too, it's showing you stuff it thinks you're interested in. And so it's based upon your viewing preferences and what other stuff you've reacted to and all that kind of stuff. And so here's the really big ticket I want you to kind of keep in mind. These algorithms, more and more, are starting to understand, oh, this creator, that is, this account, makes content like this for people like that. And so with that has sort of shifted or changed the way we should be approaching our social media strategies. If you think about Facebook 5 or 6 years ago, or Instagram 5 or 6 years ago, there was definitely a case to be made for being pretty well-rounded. Hey, I've got these kind of posts and these kind of posts and these kind of posts. And I'm talking about more than formats. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have carousels and reels on the same profile, but I am saying if you talk about golf and then makeup on the next video, that's going to have sort of a diluting effect in terms of the algorithm thinking, hey, what kind of content is this creator known for? What is their quote unquote topic authority? And who is it best for? Who am I going to suggest it to? And so with these algorithmic shifts, it's only created more of this open-mindedness to, hey, what happens if you have multiple YouTube channels or multiple Instagrams or multiple TikToks? Now, I'm not trying to freak you out in terms of, oh my gosh, that's so much work. I could never make that many videos. Remember, this is a session about leveraging AI. So in a world where algorithms have shifted to favor niching down, building topic authority around a specific subject matter, in a world like that and where AI can help you scale up, my goodness, we have ourselves, my friends, a Goldilocks opportunity. Now, we're focusing mostly on YouTube today, but I just want to invite you to consider, hey, whoever said I had to have one Instagram or one Facebook or one YouTube? Nobody ever said that. I'm certainly not saying that. Now, I'm not saying you have to have multiples. I'm just inviting you to suspend your disbelief of how hard that might be and think, well, if AI was doing it, as you will see as possible today, what would stop me from having a first-time buyer focused this or that? Or what would stop me from having channels that were divided based upon this geography or that geography? Maybe instead of all of Nashville, for instance, where I live, you had Franklin or Brentwood or Mount Juliet or Lebanon or different areas around town. What would stop you from having geographically divided channels and or seller-focused channels or buyer types? Like, for example, there could be first-time buyers, there could be move-up buyers. You could segment, you could niche down. That's the idea. What about lifestyle or life stage? What about specific types of home tours, like a new construction channel or a luxury channel? Or what about price segments? Homes under $1 million in X area, homes over $1 million in X area. Now, my goal in showing you this slide, again, it's not to overwhelm you, nor am I saying you have to do all of these. I'm just saying, what would stop you in a world of AI-ifying your marketing mix? What would stop you from being able to do it? Because right now, we live in a world, a whole new era where it's more, faster, better. And so whatever dogma we have left over from old school social media, get rid of it and expose yourself to thinking bigger about what's possible to cut through the noise and to position yourself as the dominant agent of choice in and around all your local area. Now, quick little sidebar. if you haven't watched AIM Essentials, click on, at some point in time, click on your profile, and at the very bottom, you're gonna see a starter course called AIM Essentials, which is 8 videos that goes through progressively building up your foundational knowledge of all things AI. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy talks really fast, this is a lot of stuff, I don't think I'm ready for this yet, don't freak out. You need to go watch AIM Essentials, which is yours as part of being a member of the Academy. And within that program, it's, again, 8 videos, call it 90-ish minutes of just getting you up to speed on all things AI so that you can just really leverage what is the technology of the day. Sort of the culmination or capstone of that course is building out your AI tech stack. The final video is the longest video. It's the most involved video of that course, and it's building out, again, your AI tech stack. Now, what does that mean? Well, we gave a simple framework. When you think about what AI is, AI produces outputs. We used in that program, the Essentials class, we talked about input, process, output. It's an IPO system. You've probably heard about that before. It's a very popular existing framework used in businesses all over the place. Input, process, output. And we said working with AI is an IPO system. You are the input. You're the inspiration. It's your idea. You're prompting it for the thing you want it to do. It applies a process to produce an output. And so the output that AI produces for you is the combination of it and you working together. Hey, it's you and me, AI. We're doing this thing. We're really doing it together. And so that's the output. But if you think about generative AI, again, generative AI generates stuff. It creates stuff. And if you really think critically about, well, what does it create? Well, at the end of the day, it creates words, images, sounds, videos. Those are the outputs that AI produces. Now, this, again, we go in depth on this framework, this baseline understanding inside of AIM Essentials. Just click profile and your membership and you can go watch all those videos. But the outputs that AI produces are words, images, sounds, and videos. Now, guess which ones we're going to be utilizing today? All the above except for images. Now, words, we've talked a ton about ChatGPT in this program. If you've been a member and you've been watching the trainings that have been in the past months, we've talked about custom training GPTs to sound just like you. We've spent a lot of time talking about words, writing captions, writing blogs, all that kind of stuff. Today, we're not really getting into images, but you better believe it. We're getting into sounds, that is your voice, and videos, that is your likeness. And again, this is a slide from that AIM Essentials program, specifically the video about building up your AI tech stack, where we talk about intelligent sounds, what are your go-to tools, and intelligent videos. So I'm going to prepare you. This is just you getting your knowledge learning curve up to speed. We're really talking today about generative video. However, generative video is a broader concept than just AI clones or what are called AI avatars that look and sound like you. You could really divide or subdivide generative video as it relates to AI into 3 categories, and they sort of overlap. So don't expect them to be pure clean lines. They overlap sometimes, but it is synthesis, refining, and cloning. Those are big words. Synthesis, refining, and cloning. And I'm going to give you examples of tools that do each of these because I think it's important for you to have sort of a mental model for, okay, I don't want to get lost in all the noise of AI. It's really critical to have a foundational understanding of what it is, what it isn't, so I can use the tools and have a level of confidence in what I'm doing and why I'm using the tools for their intended purposes. First, that big word synthesis. These are tools like Runway, Firefly, Sora, Veo, Pika Labs, Luma, Stability, which is powered by Stable Diffusion, Hedra, and Kyber. These are some of your biggest AIs for producing generative AI videos, where it's like a text prompt, text to video, or image to video, or video to video. So if you've seen people making like what looks like B-roll, it could be a landscape video, or it could be like a car driving by, or a spaceship flying through outer space. Those are the AI generative videos that are kind of a synthesis, and that's not really what we're going to get into today, but I want you to have, again, an understanding of what tools exist and what are they known for. We're going to be getting in today to some specific tools that really focus in on how do you create avatars that look and sound like you, but I don't want to glaze over this two, I don't want to miss this entirely. I think it's important to know what we're not getting into right now, which is all the other generative video that's out there. So this is more of a screen like, hey, if you just want to kick the, kind of knock on the glass, kind of explore, kind of discover, these are some tools that you might have fun looking at. The next level of generative video as it relates to AI is refining, and these are mostly your powerhouse editors. So tools like CapCut, Descript, Veed, Captions, BigView, Filmora, InVideo, that auto-corrected. That's supposed to be Pictory, and then WiseCut. I'll fix that in the slide download. These are your editors, basically. They can do retouching. They can make your teeth whiter. They can brighten your eyes. They can, some of these AIs can literally give you a jawline that you don't have. I mean, I wouldn't recommend going overboard on it, but they can do a lot of things. They can also speed up editing. They can do clips and things of that effect. Now, the third category of generative video, which is what we're really exploring in today's training, is cloning. Some of the big tools are HeyGen, which is the one we're going to be spending the most time with today. HeyGen is known for making videos that look like you talking. They're talking head style videos, and they can be having a background, or you can do a green screen background. You can cut yourself out of the image and remove that background, whatever, but it's your face talking. They're for talking head videos. 11 Labs, we're going to use a lot today too. 11 Labs is the best version of a fake voice that sounds like you. We're going to clone your voice. Number 3, some folks prefer Synthesia. It's a HeyGen alternative. It's not the one that I use, but some of you might. And hey, at the end of the day, this is about AI-ifying your marketing. If you have one tool that you prefer over another, more power to you. Another tool that's pseudo-popular in the marketplace is GAN AI. Another one is DID. And then, just so you're aware, you might be seeing that some of your favorite apps that you're using that have a lot of AI functionality built into them, like Captions, Veed, Descript, CapCut, they now have the ability to create your AI clone, but you might notice they're not nearly as good as like a HeyGen or a Synthesia. So like I put them last because yes, you can do it, but there's a huge amount of like lip syncing errors and latency, and so they're not quite awesome yet. But you know what? They might be awesome in the next few months. And so I want to put them on your radar that more and more of these tools are filling in. And that's kind of a thought to leave you with. At the end of the day, these AIs are competitors of each other. And so when one of them has a big innovation or a new release or a feature, you can bet your bottom dollar the others are going to try to emulate and do the same thing to remain competitive. So there's going to just naturally be this filling in effect of all the AI video things offering the same tools. And so over time, you're going to find that you need fewer and fewer subscriptions to different products because they all kind of have the same functionality. And so the good news is you'll just get to pick your favorite and work with them. However, right now, we're still in the new groundbreaking pioneering time with AI. And so you're going to find that some of these AI tools are just better at some jobs than others. And so what that does is it means your tech stack may be a little bit bigger. So one of the things I'm going to get into today is pricing on some of these tools, because I do want to be mindful of not making you spend too much money to do more marketing, because you should have a marketing budget and you should not go too gung-ho. At the same time, I would also invite you to consider this. One, what is the ROI of more video? What does that do? If you make a small investment, what does that do for your business? 2, how are we reducing costs? You may have VA editing types of costs that you might find some of the videos we get into today, or some of the trainings we get into today, could actually remove your need to have that cost. And so though it's an expense, it could also be a saver, because it could be a lesser expense, just depending upon how you use it and what you're paying and what you want to do with it. I want to be sensitive to your budget. Anyways, I'm moving on. We're going to talk today about 4 tools in particular. The first, I have an acronym for it. ATPU stands for Answer the Public. You might recall we've talked about Answer the Public before. We went through that when we talked about the generative blogging strategy last month. We're going to use it again for a YouTube strategy. We're going to talk today about ChatGPT. What I share with you about ChatGPT could be utilized in a different large language model. If you're using Gemini or Grok or Claude, just for instance, those would be fine. If you don't want to use ChatGPT, that's fine. It's not going to make much of a difference. It's going to be it's the principles that really matter most today, and the prompts that I give you that matter the most today. Next on the list is 11 Labs. That's really the most commercial grade voice cloning tool there is on the market today. Now, there are some AI tools that are really impressive for voice cloning that are kind of working in the background right now, but they're really only available for people who are developers and they can use the API and build their own interface. They're not really consumer grade ready yet. So 11 Labs is definitely our pick for cloning a voice that sounds like yours. And then we're going to attach that voice to HeyGen. Now, HeyGen it clones your voice and your video likeness, your appearance. However, their voice cloning pales in comparison to 11 Labs. And so you have the ability and the choice to do the 11 Labs voice, and then you can link it to your HeyGen avatar, so you get the best of both, but that will increase your cost. I want to make you aware of it. We're going to break all four of these tools down as we dive into the training on how do you create these specifically seller FAQs that are based upon search trends. Now, I want to prime you a little bit on this, and then we're going to get into just the execution of this. The goal is seller FAQs. What is an FAQ? It's a frequently asked question. Well, why would we do that? Well, because we know sellers are asking questions on YouTube. How do we know that? Because we know YouTube's a very, very important, primarily used as one of the top dogs in terms of search engines. And so we're going to do some keyword research to see what are the searches that sellers are typing into YouTube. And then we're going to supply the videos that address and answer those questions. Think about it as supply and demand. We're going to figure out how to supply the videos that answer what questions are demanded by sellers based upon our research using Answer the Public. And then we're going to create your avatar, the talking head video of you, just answering questions, answering questions, answering questions. Now, I want you to consider this too. What do you sell? This is a question I ask when I'm traveling or speaking all the time. I ask folks, what do you sell? And it's sort of a trick question because some people are like, oh, I sell myself. And I'm like, ha ha ha, that's illegal in some industries. And people are like, oh, giggle, giggle, and they get it. But the reality is this. If you look at data and research from, for instance, the National Association of Realtors, we know that what sellers value most as far as attributes and qualities about listing agents, what they value most when hiring a listing agent is the knowledge broker. They look for your ability to offer insights and answers and options to help them make informed, reasonable choices that help them move forward in selling their home and moving on to the next chapter in life. The thing that you sell then is your expertise. You can reverse the question. It's not what do you sell, it's what do sellers buy from you? Well, the answer is they buy your ability to deliver the goods, the result of getting their home sold for the best possible terms in the shortest amount of time. And so they're buying your expertise in the way you convey it. So that means if they go to YouTube and start asking questions and then your videos answer their questions, that means that they're going to start to see your worthiness for hire. What's more, you might have noticed this too. Whether they go to YouTube or not, if they ask that question in ChatGPT, there's a really good chance ChatGPT grabs your video as the featured answer. And I don't know if you've seen this, but more and more ChatGPT is showing literally a full width left to right thumbnail of the video that answers the question. It's sort of the featured video answer inside of ChatGPT that deep links directly to your YouTube video. And you can't even watch it inside of ChatGPT. You have to click it and it opens YouTube. And so your ability to answer sellers' questions, to anticipate their needs and desires and demands, and then be that knowledge broker is going to position you to be winning their consideration, because what do sellers want? They want a knowledge broker. But we're not going to just do this for one question. We're going to do it for like every question we can possibly surmise and mine using Answer the Public, so that whatever sellers in your marketplace are asking, it's going to be you who answers that question, only it won't really be you. It's going to be AI you. That's what we're going to break into today. All right, so let's jump over here to Chrome. I've got quite a few tabs open. The first is Answer the Public. It is answerthepublic.com. And this is where we do our keyword research. That is, what are sellers typing into Google? Not you, Google. Well, yeah, but what are they typing into YouTube? Specifically their questions that we're going to then give answers to. So we had to do the keyword research. I just clicked on YouTube. I put in a broad term called sell home. This is identical to last month. The only difference is we're not doing Google, we're doing YouTube. Other words, this is identical to last month's training. And so it gave me 1,472 related searches, and it gave them to me in the form of questions or prepositions or comparisons or alphabeticals or numbers or related, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna look at any of it. I'm gonna just do this. Click download, CSV, and it drops it into my computer's download section. Now, you may think, well, I love a tool like this. This is a tool called vidIQ, VIDIQ. This is also a paid membership. I should tell you, I'm paying on Answer the Public $11 USD per month. It does cost money. Now, one thing you might think about today is you're going to find that my training allows you to create a whole bunch of videos at once. And so there's nothing really stopping you from paying for these tools for 1 month and then quitting, and then coming back to them later. I'm not encouraging you to do that. I would rather you do this on an ongoing basis. But if you wanted to just batch it and do it all at once and your budget was a little limited, you could. But I'm also talking about $11 a month with Answer the Public. Now, vidIQ has another small fee. I can't remember exactly what it is. I want to say it's about $9 or so a month, I think. Don't quote me on that. And they can do a little bit more than Answer the Public. They're best known for actually integrating into your YouTube channel, and they can give you analytics and insights about your actual YouTube channel. They are an alternative to TubeBuddy, but they have this little function called research where I can research for keywords, and I can type in sell home, like I could go sell home, and then I could search for top keyword opportunities or rising keywords or overview, and then I could just go kaboom and then search it, and it will tell me, wow, this is a super competitive or something like, or whatever it is, and then related keywords or matching keywords or questions, and it found there are 274 questions about selling your home. Some of them may be about selling home-baked goods or not just your home, I don't know, but you can also download this data. You have the export option right here, where you can export this to a spreadsheet. Now, all my prompts today are expecting you to be using Answer the Public. If you use a different data provider, that is totally your prerogative. Just wherever it's written, Answer the Public, swap it out for your tool so that your prompt is clear and matching with what you provided. Now, this is pretty like, okay, so can we sell home through, I don't know what that is. Can you sell your home if you have an agent? Can you still sell your home if you have an agent? Should I sell my home today? Can I sell a home? What? Can I sell home processed chicken? Okay, so again, like some of these may not be about residential real estate. This is that's interesting. Oh, I thought this one, yeah. Can I sell home processed chicken is very competitive. That's hilarious. I don't know why. That's not what I know about or do. But anyways, it gives you all these questions. So that's another way to get data. Step one is you need to get your data. You saw me use Answer the Public, and I just did sell home, and then I clicked download. Now you could change it. I could do buy home or buy house or sell house, and I could combine things. You have the controls here. But step one is, rather than trying to just imagine, what do I think sellers might search for? Rather than just trying to pretend I know the answer to that, I could just conduct actual keyword research, and because YouTube reports on that, and find out what are people actually typing into YouTube. Now, yes, this is US based, national, and it's in English. If you're in a different language or different country, you can change that and Answer the Public, which is awesome. But it gives you macro data about what are people searching related to a broad topic like sell home. And then we download that, and then I'll bet you can guess it. It's going to take us back into step two, which is we need a tool like ChatGPT, or it could be Grok, or it could be Claude, or it could be Gemini. You get to pick your preferred large language model. Today, I'm going to use ChatGPT because it's the most ubiquitous for us. But you're going to drop that data, you're going to attach that data to a chat, and then you're going to use my prompt. Now, if you go inside the Academy, this is our Academy membership. You can scroll down and click on, I need to refresh that page because things just went missing. There they are, they're back. You can scroll down and click on prompts, for instance. And because if you click on prompts, now I should also tell you where you're currently watching this video, I'm gonna link up to all the prompts below the video. So there's more than one way to get to these prompts. They're either inside the actual page you're on now watching this video currently, or you can just go into your prompts and you'll find the prompts here that we're looking for. There's two today that we're gonna utilize. The first is titled YouTube Scripts from Seller Search Trends, View Prompt. So I'm going to load that one up, YouTube Scripts from Seller Search Trends. As always, every one of my resources follows the same familiar structure. It explains to you what this resource is so you can read it and really understand it if you have questions about it. And then it tells you how to use it, and it lists all the steps. Step one, we're going to gather your keyword data, which is what I just started doing with Answer the Public. Again, this is assuming Answer the Public. You may be using a different tool. That's fine. Just make sure you transpose for yourself, if you catch my meaning. Number two, Generate titles using the prompt number 1. Here's our first prompt below, but titles, what titles? We're going to generate the actual titles for the YouTube videos. Now, remember, I told you that YouTube is a search engine, and a search engine pays very close attention to keywords. Those keywords are going to be inside your video title. Does that put a workload on your shoulders? No, because my prompt accounts for this. I want to, before we do the exercise together, I want to work through this first prompt. You're going to simply paste, you'll just copy it. You click the little button that says copy, and it copies it to your computer's clipboard, and then you will paste it into your preferred large language model. I'm going to use ChatGPT. At the same time, you're going to upload, that is, attach your spreadsheet, whether you got it from Answer the Public or vidIQ, whatever you did. You're going to attach that to the same chat and then press go on your large language model. And what it's going to do is you're going to get 50 video titles that are short, emotionally engaging, and relevant to your local market and designed to rank on YouTube. So they're optimized for YouTube search SEO aspects. Now, here's the prompt. I'm super zoomed in so we can see this together. As always, my prompts are written in Markdown. The prompting methodology that I utilize inside this academy, it's called a zero-shot prompt. What that means is I have a very, very strategically multi-step detailed prompt that goes through everything I could think of, and I put it into one prompt, and it's like a it's like a Hail Mary, we're gonna go the whole distance of the field. It's gonna go from 0 to completely done in one prompt, because that reduces the workload on you to come up with the steps. So sometimes when you're in a tool like ChatGPT, it can be like an iterative process where it's like, hey, we work on this, and then we go to the next step, and then we work on this. And it's almost like the metaphor of sculpting something where it's going to kind of work our way to an end result. But what I'm giving you is a zero-shot prompt. It's like, here's the prompt, copy, paste, fill in the appropriate, anything you change. You can change that text, but then just hit go and let it do its thing. Prompt is code. Modern code is prompts. So it says writing YouTube video titles. It's the first prompt. There is a total of 2. This is sort of a mirrored strategy to last month's training. It's more of a YouTube video strategy that really complements last month's training, which was a blogging strategy. The 2 working together is going to massively lift up your SEO game. So first one is writing the video titles. And then I give it a persona. You're an experienced YouTube content strategist specializing in real estate and SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. The engine we're optimizing for is YouTube. YouTube's a search engine. First heading says key data points. These little things that's marked down. That little character there tells it this is a heading tag. It sees it as big text, important text. It's written in Markdown so that we can emphasize to ChatGPT the priority of terms or the hierarchy of terms. What it sees here is heading. This means bold. This means bullet point. And so these little characters tell it, hey, pretend I bolded that text. Pretend it was underlined. Pretend it's a heading tag. But you can't do that inside of the message box on ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, because it doesn't support formatting. This is how we format without formatting, so we can emphasize the key things that are important to draw the logical sequence of, okay, first this, then that kind of thinking for the AI. So key data points. Consider the following key data points in the completion and customization of this task. And then you're going to want to fill some of this in. This is like a map key. And this is the only part of the prompt you should really have to change. So the first thing, this is sort of like we're going to label all the terms. Again, like a map key. Keyword research tool was Answer the Public. And it's going to henceforth be referred to as a research tool. It's almost like in the beginning of a contract where you say, party A is John Doe, party B is Jane Doe, and you name party A and party B, but it refers to them as party A and party B throughout the contract. But in the beginning, they're named. We're doing it that way in this prompt. So you would change this to vidIQ or whatever you would use if you used a different data tool. The primary keyword was sell home. If it was buy home, make it say buy home. Data source is YouTube search behavior answer via Answer the Public. Once again, language, English. If it's not English, change it. Region, USA. If it isn't USA, change it. You'll just copy my prompt, paste it inside of ChatGPT, and then select those words and just backspace them and then type the new ones. Specify location. You're going to put in so I might put in like Nashville or Franklin, Tennessee, or whatever the area is that I'm trying to build authority around. That would be your own marketplace. Optional style guide, if provided. Incorporate the user's brand voice guide, tone, key phrases, and preferred structure only if a style guide accompanies the spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to get to this later. You can ignore this if you don't want to do it, but what this is I've provided room in the prompt because these are videos and you have a certain style. When you record a video, you talk like you talk, you sound like you sound. And so within this prompt, I've built in the elasticity whereby we can feed in samples of your writing, and then we can generate a written style guide instruction that will tell it how to write like you, how to sound like you when it writes. So we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Next heading, task instructions. It's going to review the spreadsheet. It's going to look for keywords. And then step one is going to analyze for YouTube. It's going to analyze the keyword for search behaviors. It's going to prioritize queries where they're looking to view or watch something explained, demonstrated, or reviewed visually. It's going to prioritize long tail phrases. We're going to go after long tail. If you recall from last month's training, long tail means it's a very detailed question. We're looking for the really detailed questions that normally, under normal circumstances, you would never take the time to make a video about. But in the case where it's AI making the video, then nothing stops you from just making videos about everything. You could be the official source of all answers because we're going to just, hit the copy paste on videos, so to speak, with you. Emphasize natural language, questions, emotional concerns. We could skip some of this. Identify emerging concerns or misconceptions that could drive higher engagement. So we're looking for like some, ooh, that's fascinating. What are maybe some opportunistic sort of get in on these topics. Filter out irrelevant queries by focusing only on residential real estate. So like if it's about selling chickens from home or whatever the other ones were, it should pick up on that and remove them. If it's a video game reference, it's not going to pull it in there. And then if you scroll down to the next step so once it figures out, so step one is you're going to figure out what are the best keywords to go after based upon the search data. Step two of our prompt is now you're going to create titles that are YouTube optimized. So search titles. Let me try to zoom in a little bit differently so this fits a little bit better. There we go. Base each video title on relevant keyword from the last step and from the research tool. The title should reflect the core intent, language, emotional trigger of the original phrase. And then it's going to create 50 YouTube video titles. If you want to make it say 40, change that number to 40. Change it to 3, change it to 10, whatever you want it to be. Short, ideally under 60 characters. This is because sometimes keywords get hidden, especially when viewed on mobile, where if it's a really long title, you can't read the whole thing. So we're going to try to keep it where it doesn't have to say see more to see the rest of the title. I want those titles to be clickable. Ooh, that's exactly what I'm looking for, says the seller, says the buyer, so they click on your video. So make it click-worthy, make it emotionally engaging and curiosity-provoking, align with common seller concerns. So I would make this note here. If you decide to revise this prompt to be buyer-focused, you're going to want to look out for where I specifically call attention to sellers and then reverse it to buyer-focused. So the easiest way to do that would be to actually copy my prompt into ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to remake this prompt, but for buyers. Can you change all the parts where it's more geared towards sellers and make it geared toward buyers? And then just, it gives you a new prompt and you can do it that way. That's just a little tip or a hack if you're thinking that way. Phrased match to sound like a natural voice or AI assisted. So this is actually really important. Phrased to match natural voice or AI assisted search queries. I really want your videos to not just be optimized for YouTube search, but for ChatGPT search and other platforms like that. Strongly incorporate the specified location. We're not trying to get people who don't live anywhere near you to find your videos. We're trying to have local optimization so that local sellers who have these questions, it's going to be geared toward them. So that means keywords in the title, but also we're banking on the fact that YouTube might take into effect somebody's location that they might be in your marketplace or something along those lines. And we want to make it very abundantly clear that you are local and therefore relevant to a local seller search more than anything else. Favorite titles that begin with strong curiosity-driven phrases. Here's the deliverable: 50 optimized YouTube titles, targeting home sellers, produce 50. This is just restating a lot of the stuff. And then compliance and integrity. Adhere to all the real estate advertising laws, fair housing guidelines, ethical standards, blah, blah, blah. Now, you are still responsible. I indemnify myself. Make sure you read the titles. You should always see what the outputs are before you publish it, because once you publish it, you are responsible for the marketing you do. However, I've tried to help out here and say, don't do things that are going to get you in trouble. And if you want to add to this, you can add to this and tweak this prompt to be your prompt. So just really simple. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click on copy. It copies the whole prompt. And then we're going to jump over to a new chat in ChatGPT, and I just click paste. And so now my prompt is in here, and I'm going to just go to the little map key at the top, and everything is as is, except I'm going to change the word location that I've highlighted there to say Franklin, TN. That's going to be my location today. And then brand voice. I don't know if I'm not going to do my style guide yet. We're going to do that in a little bit, okay? The rest should be good to go. Now you're going to notice it hasn't asked me for my name, because my name's not the keyword they're searching for. That's going to be in the next step when we actually want my name integrated to build authority in the video scripts themselves. But I'm not going to put Jason Pantana in the video title because I'm trying to rank for searches related to selling a house. They're not searching for me. They're searching for the topic that I want to answer. Now, something to think about when it relates to your marketing. I've talked about this in other trainings, and I think it's really important. When you think about lead generation in real estate, leads respond to marketing offers. A lead is just somebody who raises their hand and says, I'm interested in what you're offering, and the thing you're offering is of real estate intent. Think about this for a second. If you sponsor a booth at a local festival, and maybe people are like filling out their names to drop their little names in a big glass bowl to win a free bicycle, and maybe 1,000 people fill out their contact info and drop it in the glass bowl because they want to win a free bicycle. How many leads did you generate? Some of you might think, ooh, 1,000, I got 1,000 leads. No, you did not get 1,000 leads. You have 1,000 people's contact info who want a free bike, but it's not a real estate offer. So the only way to get a lead in real estate is to make a real estate offer. There are only 3 offers in real estate: property inquiries, professional inquiries, process inquiries. Property inquiries, professional inquiries, process inquiries. Property inquiries are the truckload of most leads that we get in our business. Think about Zillow. Somebody inquires about a specific property. I want to learn more about this property. Somebody goes to an open house. I'm registering to go into the open house. Somebody wants a home valuation. Tell me what my home is worth. The offer is around the property, and so the agent is kind of like a side dish. And it's not a bad thing. It just means that the conversion of demonstrating your necessity to what they really want, which was the property, is a little bit more work. You got to work harder on that. The next kind of inquiry that generates leads is a professional inquiry. Somebody goes to ChatGPT, like we talked about last month. Who's the best realtor in Franklin, Tennessee? They're literally seeking you out. They're looking for the professional, and those are amazing. They read your reviews, they find you on AI, etc. Those are amazing. They ask their parents for a referral. A referral is a professional inquiry. Do you know somebody great to work with about selling my luxury home? And they say, you've got to talk to so-and-so. Those are all professional-based inquiries because the offer being made was the actual real estate agent, not the property, the agent. But then there's a third, and the third to me is an untapped well of opportunity. And those are process-based inquiries. Think about it. Who do sellers hire? They hire the knowledge broker. So what does it look like if you become the ultimate source of knowledge? Well, you're explaining the process related to buying or selling real estate in your local marketplace. Somebody has a question about the process. They find your videos or your blogs, if you're talking about last month. They position you as the guide, the person who can help them understand what they need to know to take the next step toward doing the thing, buying the house, selling the house. My goodness, you could just answer people's questions. You could do market updates, tips, advice, concise explainers, and you could just be demonstrating your worthiness for hire again and again and again, and you're generating process inquiry leads, which to me are incredibly powerful. I think about rock star real estate professionals like Ken Pozek. Ken Pozek generates a ton of leads off of his YouTube channel because people have questions about this area or that area, and they YouTube search it, they find his videos, and they're like, that's exactly what I wanted to know. And then they start to recognize him as their agent authority. I'm going to work with Ken when I'm ready. And he's answering all my questions. He's earning their trust. He's becoming known by them and liked by them because he's their agent, their person. And so I just want to invite you to consider for a moment the power of what we're getting into. We're going to generate process inquiries. There's 3 kinds of leads in real estate. Property inquiries, which are awesome, but the house is the star, not you. There's professional inquiries, you're the star, but there's just not enough of those. And then there's process inquiries. Ooh, there's lots of those. And it positions you as the guide. And that's what we're going to go after today in terms of helping you win more business. Now, let's jump back into our ChatGPT. So here is our prompt, and I'm going to start filling things in. Once again, I want to remind you, I have not yet put in my name, but we're going to start to modify this a little bit for ourselves. All right, so the prompt is good to go. The next thing I have to do is attach my data, which I just downloaded moments ago. Here it is. Kaboom. And we're going to drop that in, and then we're going to press the return key. So here we go. This may take a second. I'll be right back. And we are back, and we now have 50 optimized YouTube video titles designed for home sellers in Franklin, Tennessee, based on the cleaned keyword data and tailored to YouTube search behavior. So it's done our job, and it divided it into some sections. General seller education, timing the market, which was actually maximizing sale price. So I told it to do that in the prompt. It was well done. Preparing to sell, FSBO and DIY selling, strategy and decision making, working with professionals, and let's just scan through and make sure we're happy with what it gave us. So how to sell your Franklin home without an agent, what you need to know before selling a Franklin home, can you sell your home in Franklin without renovating, the right way to sell a home in Franklin, Tennessee, okay, so these are pretty good. Timing the market. Is now the right time to sell your home in Franklin, Tennessee? Why summer might be the best time to sell in Franklin, Tennessee? Franklin home prices are changing. Should you sell? These are pretty good. Maximizing sale price. 5 upgrades that boost Franklin home sale prices. How to get top dollar for your Franklin home. These look, on a cursory glance, on a first glance, they look pretty good to me. Again, don't publish something you haven't looked at. You want to be confident in what you're putting out there. But this is now, I'm happy with where we are in the process. So I'm going to park it here, and I'm going to jump back over to our prompt number 2. So if I scroll down past our first prompt in the resource inside of AIM, it gets to step 3. Let's zoom out a little bit. Step 3 is write a script using prompt number 2, which you can see down here below. Choose one of the titles, run prompt number 2 to get a full 6-minute video script. The script will reference your keyword, location, and brand name. Now, 6-minute, we're getting into long form video. Once again, this is YouTube that we're talking about, where there's greater intent because they're seeking out a video by search. Think about this. If you do a search for a video and you want to understand or know something, and you see some videos listed in the ranking results page, you're going to look at them and you're going to scrutinize which one should I click. This may be a very quick judgment kind of decision, but you're going to go through some basic thinking. You're going to look at the thumbnail. Is the thumbnail interesting and worth clicking? You're going to look at the title. Does it say something that seems on topic for what I'm trying to understand? And I'm willing to bet, among other things, you're going to look at the run time. How long is this video? So for example, if one video is 18 minutes and the next video is 14 minutes and then your video is 42 seconds, it's going to cause the viewer to think, oh, this one must be lacking in substance and it's not going to answer my question. And so I'm recommending a 6-minute video as kind of a sweet spot that's based upon actual data that realizes runtime videos about 6 minutes tend to perform really remarkably well. I would be okay with 9-minute videos. I don't want to split hairs on this, but I do think 6 minutes is about the right spot for the length of your video to answer a question that a seller might be asking. Next up, the script will reference your keyword, location, and brand name. Now, this time I am going to start getting into your brand name. It's written in a conversational, second-person style that builds trust with sellers, blah, blah, blah. Step 4 is we're going to record or generate your video. So step 3, we need actual prompt. Step 4 is after we get to the second prompt. I probably should have actually put the prompt above step 4, but I think you get the difference. So let's look at the second prompt. Prompt number 2, writing your YouTube video style, clean copy output. You are an experienced real estate focused YouTube content writer and strategist. It's got a couple of things. One, it's going to validate the context, confirm that the primary keyword is still the same, blah, blah, blah. Optional style guide. I'm going to address that in just a moment here. Validate call to action. It may ask you questions. Hey, what is the CTA you want this particular video script to really? Do you want to offer a free home valuation? Do you want to have them call you? What do you want to have happen? And then if it's a data-driven one, I've programmed it to ask you for MLS data. I don't want it to make stuff up. It's not supposed to make things up. So if it needs MLS data to talk about pricing, timing, market trends, it's supposed to ask you for that data. That would then require you, which we've talked about this before in past trainings, it would require you to go to your MLS, run a search, and download that data. If you don't have the ability to do that, delete this one from the little steps in this prompt. Otherwise, it's going to get stuck in this loop of wanting that from you. Task overview. It's going to write a 6-minute video. You know what? Actually, before I get to task overview, let's jump into this style guide for just a quick moment here. And to do that, we're going to actually jump back into your prompts. I'm going to go back to the prompts page I was on a moment ago. And there's a prompt here called Write Like Me. Once again, it's going to be linked below this video, and or you can just get to it in the resources section of AIM. It's called Write Like Me. I'm going to view the prompt. And I want to walk you through this one really quick. This is not going to take us very long. This prompt is designed to give a written style guide that describes to a ChatGPT or a Grok how to write an output that sounds like you. We're going to feed it samples of your writing, and then it's going to write basically a statement that says this is you and how you write. I'm going to show you how this works for momentarily here. So how to use it, you're going to attach a writing sample. And then I told you, ideally, you want a few paragraphs or 1 or 2 pages of material, so there's enough for it to work from. You could go to a website like rev.com, and you could feed it some of your videos that you've done in the past, and it will AI will transcribe those for a very, very low cost, so that you have a sample that you can load into a chat. And then down here is the prompt. So imagine a chat in ChatGPT that you open up. You attach your written samples. It could be a document with a few paragraphs or pages of transcripts of your past videos. And then it says in the prompt, study how I communicate in the attached writing sample. Pay close attention to my tone, phrasing, rhythm, sentence structure, word choice, and personality. Then create a reusable style guide that captures how I talk and write. The goal is to make this guide detailed and specific enough that someone else could follow it and reliably write in my voice, regardless of the task or topic. Avoid language, vague summaries like casual or professional. Instead, be specific about the traits you notice. For example, pay attention to all these things. And then the final guide should be practical and ready for me to copy and paste into future prompts so that AI consistently writes in my voice. If you want your video scripts by AI to sound like you could copy this, load your samples, and then inside of our current prompt, let's go back to our actual guide that we're working on. YouTube, by the way, just again, you don't have to do this. This is if you want to do this. But it's so like I wrote these prompts to say like, if there is a style guide included, reference it. If there's not a style guide included, don't worry about it. So you may be thinking, well, where do I put my style guide? You could either copy and paste it at the bottom of your prompt, clearly marked as a style guide, or you could actually attach it to your chat as a document, so that when you submit your second prompt here, let me scroll down, it sees that, Jason's also attached his style guide. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, you can ask me when we get to the lab coming up in a couple of weeks here. Okay, so let's get on with it. Task overview, it's gonna write the 6-minute video. After it completes the first script, it expects the second script. So literally, when you're done with the first script, you're gonna copy this prompt again and make it say the word second, and then make it say the word third, and then make it say the word fourth. You're gonna just keep writing script after script after script based upon the 50 titles we've already generated from the first prompt. It's gonna use the same primary keyword. This time it does want the agent brand name, so we need to actually include that information in the prompt. I'll get to that in a moment. And then script output instructions. We're gonna write a full script. It's gonna be in the second person perspective, strong opening hook, confirm the topic so viewers know they're in the right place. That's a critical step. So like, again, these are people who are searching for content, and they're gonna quickly exit your video. If your video doesn't prove to them it's going to solve the problem or answer the question they're trying to figure out, in the nature of their search. So we're going to quickly affirm the viewer, you're in the right spot, keep watching. Why? Well, because we know that watch time really matters, not only for your conversion, but we know that YouTube cares about watch time, because if people don't watch your video very long, YouTube's like, I'm going to stop ranking this video because clearly it sucks. It's going to introduce the speaker naturally by name. Hi, I'm is going to fill in the agent or brand name that's referring to in this location. Preview what the viewer will learn. Deliver 2 or 3 quick insights. So it's like really, here's the CTA. It's going through a full structure of the video for you. Writing style and guidelines. I already have some tone and avoid jargon and stuff like that in here that's boilerplate. This may get replaced somewhat by your style guide if you attach a style guide that's contradictory to that. YouTube description. At the end of the script, write a 160 character YouTube video description that goes along with it. So you have that to copy and paste with your video script. And it's going to be optimized with all the right keywords. So let's go ahead and we're going to copy this to our clipboard and get ready for copy number 2. All right, let's jump over to ChatGPT, and then I'm going to paste my prompt. There it is. And I'm going to go up to where I have to name myself. So it says agent or brand name, and I'm going to put here, I'm going to replace that text with Jason Pantana. I'll just leave it. I can say realtor. It could be your team name. You can tweak this a little bit, okay? And then I believe we're good to go because it's automatically going to do the first one. So enter, and we once again will wait. Okay, that didn't take long at all. Here's the first script, and it's written it, and it's followed all my instructions. Now we're gonna leave, and then it also did write my YouTube description down here. We're gonna leave this alone for the time being because we are going to ultimately copy and paste that over to HeyGen. But before we do that, we gotta actually create your voice clone, and we gotta create your video clone. So let's jump over to Chrome, and let me zoom out a little bit here so I can see what we're working with. We're gonna jump to next on our list. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to create your avatar for your voice, and I'm recommending 11 Labs. This is a guide. I'm going to put this link for you inside below this video. I'm going to put the link there. This is a best practices how to clone your voice guide that's very easy. You can listen to it and tells you what to do for how to make your voice inside of 11 Labs. It's easy and it's an additional resource, but here's the gist of it. I'm going to go into my 11 Labs. It's 11labs.io. I'm logging into the app, and I'm now currently on their homepage. And over here, you have this left-hand sidebar for voices. You can simply click the plus, and you would add a new voice. I'm using their professional voice clone. You could use an instant voice clone. It's okay, but the professional voice clone is certainly better. However, the professional voice clone does also come with some pricing considerations. Now, if you jump over to subscription levels, I'm using their creator plan, which is $22 a month. So this is $22 a month, and that's what you have to get a pro. It recommends the pro at $100 a month. I'm using creator for $22. You can get a $5 a month one, but it's like you only can get those instant cloned voices, not the pro voices. And there is certainly a difference. So if I jump over to voices, there's a whole library, but there's a section called My Voices. And then here's my voice. Let me just play it really quick. The smallest act of kindness is never wasted. So it sounds like me really, really well, remarkably like me. So you're going to want to clone your voice. Now, the way this happens is really pretty straightforward. You click on the Pro Voice, and then it wants a bunch of audio files it can listen to. I'm going to give you some recommendations. One, it's worth having pro-grade audio. What I did is I actually took these videos that I've made inside of the Academy, and I just loaded them in because it's just me talking the whole time, and I'm using my professional mic, and I loaded in 2 hours worth of footage. And so you're going to get a better clone the more audio you give it. So I gave it like 2 hours. It doesn't mean it uses all 2 hours. It used some parts it couldn't use, so it discarded them, and it took like an hour and a half or two for it to actually clone my voice. It like emails you when it's done, so to speak. But you're going to want to give it a lot of really good audio quality stuff. 2, you should not load in different microphones. Like here's a clip of me talking here and then here and then here, because you're going to get a variance. You want it to be the same mic, the same sound, the same room all the time, ideally. I thought for a second I was going to have to record myself talking for like 2 hours. And I got to be honest with you, if you really find this to be worth it, you might end up having to do that if you don't already have the footage of just you talking, because the more you give it, the more it's going to train on and the more it's going to sound like you. I made a pro voice once that I didn't really like. I had a 2-hour presentation I delivered, and I was in a big room, a ballroom at a hotel with thousands of people, and it sounded just like me. But you could hear the reverb in the room. It sounded like a live venue, and it wasn't useful for talking head style videos. So you should also think through, okay, what is the ambiance I want based upon the kinds of videos I intend to make, because what you put in is what you get out. It sounds like you. Other than that, there's really not much involved to it. You pay the money, you give them the samples, and then when it's done, it will make you actually speak words on a screen to certify your voice. They will actually check that the voice that is submitting this avatar is your voice. So you can't submit somebody else's voice. It will prevent you from doing that, which I appreciate their little honor system. But that tool is called 11 Labs, and we're gonna use it for voice. Just to give you some context for what it actually sounds like, let me jump back over here into 11 Labs. So I'm on the text to speech section right now, and let's go grab just a little bit of our script. I'm gonna just say, I'll just copy the first paragraph, and then we'll jump back over, and then I'm gonna paste it, and then I've got my voice selected. They have different models. I do like their multilingual V2 the best, although it gives you a lot of tokens, and so based upon what you pay for, so this uses up, depending on how many videos you make, you're gonna wanna think about what model you use, because it will use up your allotment for that month faster if you use a more expensive model, but it is better. And you can tweak the speed of my speech, is this gonna be more or less stable? How similar to me? Are you gonna exaggerate style? And then you just click on, I'm gonna regenerate this speech. You would say generate if it was the first time. Thinking about selling your home in Franklin without a real estate agent? Maybe you're looking to save on commission, or you just want more control over the process. I get it. But before you dive in, there are a few things you need to know, because selling a home by owner isn't just about sticking a sign in the yard and hoping for the best. Okay, so obviously it sounds a whole lot like me, but this interface doesn't matter a ton for today's training, because ultimately we're going to be linking your 11 Labs voice using an API over to HeyGen, which leads me to the next thing on our list, which is HeyGen. Now, HeyGen, HeyGen, I've got another link that I'm going to put down below on their best practices for making a clone, and you're going to want to read through this. I have some thoughts here too. So once you're actually logged into HeyGen, this also costs money. So if I click on pricing, I'm using their creator, which is $29 a month. So I'm adding up costs pretty quick. I've got Answer the Public at $11 a month. I've got $29 a month for HeyGen. I can do as many videos as I want on that, and they're 1080p. They're not 4K. If I want 4K, I got to go up to the team level, which is $39 a month. I don't know that I need that though. Plus, I've got $22 a month for 11 Labs, so it's adding up pretty quickly. I want you to use whatever's your level of confidence and what's in your budget, and you're going to focus on that. Notwithstanding, you would simply choose your account, and then you would go to avatars on the left, and I've made an avatar here, my avatars. I can buy more avatars. My creator profile lets me have one, and you would click create a new avatar, and you could do create a hyper-realistic avatar, and it gives you the options here. And so I made the one that requires samples of me, and I'll give you some context for this one too. So again, you're going to walk through this entire link for the step-by-step, but let me give you some pro tips on recording the clone. It's going to tell you this, but you want to have really good lighting, a great background, a quiet area. Now, it is going to clone your voice. It's not as good as the voice clone that you get if you use 11 Labs, but it is going to clone your voice. So your audio matters, but it's going to tell you things like, hey, between every sentence, you need to pause for a second and close your lips, because it's learning how your mouth moves. Your sample is only 5 minutes long. So you're going to record an actual sample for HeyGen. Like, for example, let me show you the world's most embarrassing video of me. These are all my samples. So these are all the samples I did for 11 Labs. They're all just audio files. And so like you can see, this is actually the recordings of AIM lectures. So I gave it a lot of content. But then down here, I made one 5-minute video. 5 minutes is your max. 5-minute video for HeyGen, and it's highly embarrassing. Watch. I like talking about marketing. I love my family. I like talking about Alyssa, Leo, Nico.
I do love my family. And so it's just me talking about absolute nonsense, trying to be mindful of my expressions, my face, and my smiling. I talk with my hands a lot, as you probably can tell. I bob my head a lot. I was trying hard not to do those things because something I've realized is if you're animated like me, you want to try to keep your hands like below your chest level. So like this. So I was very intentional to keep my hands to my side a lot and then sparingly use my hands. You pause in between every sentence. I was smiling a lot, but I would close to a straight face. So it takes some work to do it. But you can record a sample. If it's a 5-minute sample, it might take you a couple of tries. You record that sample. I actually lowered my desk so that my desk wasn't in the shot. And it was like this way up. If you're too close or if you bob your head too much or you've moved too fast, it gets a little bit weird, just so you're aware of that. Anyways, I digress. Let's jump back into building these. Now you might notice these looks, you can add a new look. And so, for example, you can add a look using your own video or photos. You can actually upload varying photos of yourself. And theoretically, what it does is it will take your clone and then create other talking versions of you. And I did not name myself a dapper gentleman in a cozy coat. It automatically names it. I also did not call myself a casual charmer in blue. It named that from, it really likes to hey, good job, Jason. It likes to boost the ego. They're okay. The stylish sound engineer, that's my headshot. Apparently he thinks I'm in sound production. And sometimes these other looks aren't very good. My recommendation is that when you record your sample, I put myself in a black t-shirt. That was my sample. I would also take some photos or other videos of yourself in different wardrobes in the same setting. That way you've got a different color t-shirt or a blazer or other options so you can get those other looks that can be utilized for your avatar in the future. So again, the tip is when you record your sample, do some wardrobe changes, have some photos and videos of those alternative wardrobes so you can create additional looks. It lets you do 300 looks. I mean, I don't think you need to do that many, but up to 300 looks. And then you can simply I could go into projects, and then I could click on new video, and this is what we would do. And it's going to ask you, do you want to do a video translation? Because it can actually make you speak in a different language. Be careful making people think you actually speak languages you don't speak, because that's not going to work well when they call you and want to work with you and you can't actually support that language. So somebody on your team should be able to support that language, I would say. But we're going to do today an avatar video. And so you can do portrait or landscape. I'm going to go landscape because we're doing YouTube videos. But hey, I want to show you this too. You can do portrait as well. Like, check this out. I'm going to jump back over to my slides for just a quick little second here where we left off. And I want you to see this. I know we're talking today predominantly, we're talking about YouTube videos, but this is Katie Day, one of our members and our good friends on her Houston Unlocked channel. This video crushed, and this is a HeyGen avatar with the removed background, green screen. That's a Canva graphic in the background, and these videos are just absolutely crushing. So let me jump over and show you what the video actually looks like if I play it on Instagram. So that's actually an avatar.
Lexington Boulevard and next to the future MD Anderson Cancer Center, construction kicks off this fall, with Phase 1 wrapping up in early 2027. Share this with a friend who lives in Fort Bend.
So that was her first avatar. She actually recorded a new avatar because you'll find you get better at predicting what samples. When you do a sample of yourself and you see what kind of an avatar it makes, you're like, oh, I need to stop doing that in my sample. I need to do it differently. And then you get better at giving it a great sample, and then eventually you're going to get that avatar that looks just great. I got to tell you, my avatar is not my first avatar. I've deleted avatars and started over. You're going to probably do the same thing, where you do one, you're like, yeah, it was okay, I'm going to do it better. I realized I shouldn't have bobbed my head so much, or whatever the thing is that you find it sort of picked up on that you don't like. And then you don't do it on the next sample, and you get a new one that looks more like you, that's passable, and you can do Instagram videos like this. So this is not just YouTube. It's TikToks, it's Reels, it's Facebooks, it's more faster, better video with AI. Creating videos that you would never had the time to make in the past. Anyways, I digress. Let's jump back into, I'm going to close that tab. We're going to do a landscape, okay? It opens up our project. Here's my avatar. Yes, I'm going to choose my hyper-realistic avatar. And I'm going to choose the main one here, not one of my looks. I'm going to choose that one right there. And then we're going to click on script next. And we're going to want to make sure we have the right voice attached. This is the Hey Jen, I misspelled sample when I loaded it in. That was my bad. This is the Hey Jen voice. And so let's just hear it really quick.
Welcome to the new era of video creation with Hey Jen. Simply type your script to get started.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all. That's the Hey Jen voice. But I have over here on my voices, do you see where it says integrate third-party voice? It will walk you through that where if you click it, it can take you to 11 Labs. Now, I can't actually show you this on the screen because it would reveal my API key. Every account has a unique API key. So it will tell you where to go get your API key over in 11 Labs. I can tell you all you got to do is click on your little face down here on your account and you can go get your API key. And then you just copy and paste that and it will link and you can choose which voices you want to pull over from your 11 Labs. And so I pulled over under my voices, I pulled over my Pro voice right there. And so I've now changed to Pro. If I click on the little action menu ellipses, I can make sure it's using the right model. That model is coming from 11 Labs. I can increase the clarity and similarity. I can increase the stability or decrease it. I can exaggerate the style. I can speed up or slow down. And I can change things till I get it where I like. Now you may also notice it has this GPT script writer and it looks like it's powered by OpenAI. You could write your scripts directly in here, but that would be letting it write it without my prompts. So my recommendation is you actually write the scripts using the prompts I've provided in ChatGPT and you just copy and paste them over when it's time to do the work, which we've already done the script. So I'm going to jump over to my ChatGPT and I'm going to select the text for our first video script. I'm going to click Command C to copy that text, jump back over, and then I'm going to replace this text right there. And we've got our first script inputted here. Fantastic. Let me make sure it did it all because it does have a limitation on characters. We did perfectly, so we're in keeping. Okay, so it did break down some of it. Oh, it's fine. It did it automatically. It just moved it into two little sections. That's not a big deal. So I'm going to make sure it's got the right voice here, and it does. And then after this, you can go add text if you want to. You can add elements in their little editor if you want to. I don't need to do any of that. And then you get down to the asset. You can add your brand kit assets. Like if I wanted to drop in, I haven't done it, but if I have my logo, I could put my little favicon icon logo on the lower quadrant if I wanted to, etc. And then I would just click submit if I'm happy with it. Now, one note on the script is that it's going to read your script the way a musician reads music. And so your punctuation really matters. If you wanted to emphasize specific keywords, you're going to want to maybe all caps them. Unfortunately, Markdown does not work. It will just read ampersand, or it will read hashtag, or it will read asterisk. And so it just reads the symbols. And so you've got to think through, how am I emphasizing my words? Most of that is already specified in my prompts for you. So you just have to copy and paste the prompts. I'm going to click on submit and it's going to ask me to title the video. And we're going to call this AIM Demo. And I'll go to my videos. It's going to be a 1080p resolution. I'm limited to 1080p because I'm a creator member. If I upgrade to Pro, I could get 4K, but I'm not going to. MP4 is fine. Remove the Hey Jen watermark, press submit, and now we wait. All right, it took a few minutes and it's now done. And so let's give it a shot and see how it came out. Thinking about selling your home in Franklin without a real estate agent? Maybe you're looking to save on commission or you just want more control over the process. I get it. But before you dive in, there are a few things you need to know because selling a home by owner isn't just about sticking a sign in the yard and hoping for the best. I'm Jason Pantana, a real estate... So not bad at all. And again, like, what do you do with this? Well, you could download it. You could give it to a VA. You could still do light editing with it if you wanted to have that done. But we are now putting you in a position where what happens if you start a new YouTube channel that's nothing but FAQs that answer seller questions? It doesn't have to be part of your main YouTube channel, but you could create secondary, tertiary, extra YouTube channels that are way niched down on specific topics to help be that resource, that answer, that guide to prospective sellers or buyers in your marketplace who might have those questions. And I would also tell you this, like a year ago, these videos were not believable. They have gotten so much better, and there's still so much more room to go. And what we're also seeing is some editing tools. Now, if you look at a tool like Captions now has a feature called AI Edit where you can load in a video and it will auto edit it for you. Is it perfect? No. Is it designed for vertical videos? Yes. And so does that necessarily work with these? No, it doesn't, because they're not vertical videos and they exceed the 60-second limit of this right now. But I'm preparing you for okay, I think we're there. There's now actual use cases where these videos are generating leads and they can be used in your actual customer-facing, forward-facing marketing activities. But I would also tell you that the sky's the limit. What can be done in the future? So the tools, if you jump back over here to our slides for a quick second, the tools are simple. It's answer the public or your data source that you prefer to figure out what are the questions sellers are actually searching. What do they want to know on YouTube? Bearing in mind that YouTube is a search engine and an incredibly popular search engine, using an AI like ChatGPT, using my prompts to help you figure out, okay, based upon the data, what are the best videos to create? And then based upon that data, can I make videos, scripts that sound like me? And the answer is yes, you can. And then using a tool like 11 Labs for the voice clone, linking that over to HeyGen for your video clone, and then copying and pasting your ChatGPT, or if you use Claude or whatever, your scripts from our prompted outputs over there. And then it's submit, download, rinse and repeat the process of doing more videos and then operating faster and being better in your marketing mix. Now you may think like, I don't love the avatars. That's fine. Notwithstanding, there's nothing stopping you from them reading a teleprompter and using AI to fix your eye contact. I'm looking at a teleprompter right now, actually. Can you see my eyes moving left to right? Not necessarily, but even if you're reading a teleprompter on a screen that's maybe below the camera lens, you could still do it that way. And so how are you leveraging AI to do more, to do it faster, to do better? This concludes our training for the month of May. I can't wait to see you in the upcoming lab. The details are inside your profile for downloading the calendar event and making sure you're prepared for when is that lab scheduled for later this month. I want to see you and I want to hear from you on that lab in terms of what did you take away today? Did you get stuck somewhere? What did you think? How are you leveraging this? Are you doing an Instagram strategy? Are you doing the YouTube strategy? How are you going to leverage AI and video together? To me, video is absolutely the media of the day. And so how can you do more of it? How can you do it faster? How can you do it better? Thanks so much for being a part of this academy. I'm grateful for you. Have a great time.